with the creation of the Constitution and the Declaration of Mankind, King Louis's powers reduced drastically. However, as you will see later on, he had plans of his own. The people of France were happy. The National Assembly had succeeded in making France into a constitutional monarchy. However, having been stripped of almost all his powers, King Louis was not happy. He decided to launch a campaign with the help of Austria. As Queen Marie Antoinette was from the Austrian royal family, Louis was sure that if they were to reach Austria, they would be safe. So Louis and his family disguised themselves as peasants and headed off to Austria. Unfortunately, the revolutionists came to know of the plan. The king and queen were caught near the border of France before they could enter Austria. They were brought back to Paris. The people of Paris were enraged and now lost all faith in their royal family. The National Assembly decided to wage war on Austria. Lots of volunteers came to fight from the neighboring regions. Patriotic songs, such as the Marseillaise, were sung. Marseillaise was composed by Roger de la Isle and is now the national anthem of France. It was about during this time that Maximilien Robespierre came into the forefront of the revolution. A lawyer by profession, he was a strong orator and was the head of the Jacobin Club. The Jacobins included members from the lesser prosperous middle class. They considered themselves different. Jacobins were also called sans-culottes, which meant those without knee breeches. They wore long striped trousers, similar to dock workers, and wore a red Phrygian cap that symbolized liberty. Meanwhile, the war was still going on with Austria. Prussia too entered the war as an ally to Austria. The expenses of the war raised the prices of food again. High prices and shortage of food angered the Parisians. On August 10, 1792, thousands of people stormed the palace of the Tuileries, where King Louis and his family were staying. All the king's guards were massacred, and the king just barely managed to escape. The National Assembly stripped King Louis of all his powers and imprisoned him and his family. On September 21st, 1792, a new assembly called the Convention was formed, and France was declared a republic. Now that King Louis was imprisoned and that France was in the hands of the people, one would have expected that things would only get better. It got worse. The year immediately following the formation of the French Republic is referred to as the Reign of Terror. Hundreds died during this period, and they were all killed using the dreaded guillotine, a machine that was used for beheading people. The National Committee, now called the Convention and headed by Robespierre, felt that the best way to start the new republic was to execute the king. So they put King Louis on trial and found him guilty. He was allowed to spend his last moments with his family. On January 21st, 1793, King Louis was beheaded, his charge being the conspiracy against public liberty and the general safety. Marie Antoinette was also guillotined on October 16th of the same year. The monarchy was no more. King Louis was executed on the 21st of January, 1793, at the Place de la Concorde, followed by the execution of the Queen. The year immediately following the formation of the French Republic is actually referred to as the Reign of Terror. Hundreds died during this period. Maximilien Robespierre, now head of the Committee of Public Safety, felt that there were lots of enemies of the revolution plotting against France. He suspended the Declaration of the Rights of Man and started executing people he suspected of counter-terrorist activities. Thousands of people were imprisoned and killed during this period. Even the clergy and members of his own party were not spared. With every passing day, more and more people were killed. At the peak of the Reign of Terror, over 25 people were being guillotined daily. Even Antoine Lavoisier, the man who is considered the father of modern chemistry and who is famous for discovering oxygen and hydrogen, was executed during this period. On the economic front, Robespierre's government enforced a maximum ceiling on wages and prices, and the peasants were forced to sell grains at a fixed price of the government. Meat and bread were rationed, and the use of white flour was banned. Only whole wheat bread, known as equality bread, was allowed. Furthermore, churches were shut down and the buildings converted into barracks. Equality was practiced even through speech, where instead of Madame and Monsieur, citoyenne and citoyen were used. Camille Desmoulins, a revolutionary journalist of that time, had conflicting views on Robespierre's government and voiced his thoughts openly. He was against guillotining people and believed that liberty could be achieved with more humane methods. Robespierre was the exact opposite. He believed that liberty could be achieved through terror. Desmoulins was eventually executed during the Reign of Terror. Finally, the supporters of Robespierre had enough. In July 1794, he was charged with treason and sentenced to death. Robespierre was guillotined facing the blade so that he could see death approaching him. And with the death of Robespierre, ended the Reign of Terror.